they got these payment plan PCs, right? Because I'm in the market for a PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I about to spend $1,700 on a PC?
Probably.
Probably. Do I want to do it all at once?
Probably.
No, not one. No, not maybe. But they got these interest-free PCs. You pay like $80 a month. You get like whatever PC you want. I'm like, man, I wish they had this when I was like 16. Because it only really showed up when I started turning like 18. When I was about to like move out. So like I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't about to do it then. But I'm like, man, where was this when I was like 14? I totally could have used this. This would have been sweet. But they didn't have it when I was around that age. So I think
PC
being
gaming wasn't really popular when we were growing up.
well, when I turned like 14 is when I really wanted to get into it, but like I just couldn't like afford the upfront cost. So,
Mm-hmm.
which leads me into my next topic, Wenzel. I
Uh-oh.
wanted to jump into the 5 reasons that you should switch to PC gaming, right? So I got
What's the...
5, and you can hop into them whenever you want. But I was just gonna go on a little tangent here, right?
Alright.
Well, you said what's the? I know you have a question.
I was gonna ask what number 2 was.
Number 2, the long-term price.
Ah.
So number 5, of course, is the mods, right? So mods are really fun. You can change the game however you want, and you get a new game experience. And I had a lot of fun doing this with Skyrim because Skyrim, and this was before they had like the Skyrim. I don't know if they had console mods now, but I know they have Fallout mods for console. But back when I started getting into PC gaming, I was a huge Skyrim fan, and it was one of the few games that I enjoyed playing after switching from console. And they had the mods, and I got, you know, I want to call it like Falkarth or something was one of the mods, and it was basically like a whole new DLC I could play. I got transported to this new island, and it was immensely fun. And then there was another Call of Duty 4 mod, which was it was like a Star Wars mod essentially. It's like switch the game to Star Wars, and it gives games immensely more playability. And on top of that, mods they're not always used for like fun things.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bethesda games are always full of glitches, and they're always full of like little things that like are not optimized whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So they always come out with like the unofficial like Bethesda patch or whatever, right? And it always just fixes things. So you get little optimizations here and there that like are really like quality of life things. So you get like a whole new quality of life with all these mods. So did you have anything before I went on to the next one? Wenzel, anything about mods? Because they're basically non-existent on console, so you can't really make that kind of argument. Because there are other things on console which like they're on console, you kind of can argue the pros and cons, and then go from there. And a lot of times the cons outweigh the pros on the console. But this one is just, unless it's like a specific Bethesda game, there's really no mods whatsoever.
Not really.
Okay. So the next thing I wanted. So consoles have exclusives. PC has exclusives, obviously, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
biggest reason I didn't switch to the biggest reason I didn't switch to PC before was Halo. I was a huge Halo fan for like maybe the first 17 years of my life, right? And I played Call of Duty, but I also always went back to Halo. Like during the off seasons of when I would compete in esports and whatnot, I would always go back to Halo. Halo was an amazing game, right? Now Halo's
Mm-hmm.
on PC, and they're coming out with the Master Chief Collection on it, and everyone's playing Halo Reach. I saw Shroud playing it for the first time the other day, and PC has so many exclusives, right? That pretty much don't come out on console. PUBG started off on PC. League of Legends, I really don't like League of Legends, but a lot of people like it. It's like the #1 game on Twitch consistently for like the
I
last
like
10
League.
years. You like League of Legends?
I do.
Okay, well, you a bitch. Um, Fortnite started off on the PC, but then it's always grown. So a lot of the best games they start off on PC, and that's where you really get to enjoy their exclusivity. And you always get a lot of games beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Civilization came out first on the PC, and eventually it came out on console. Got it on my Nintendo Switch. It's a good mobile game actually. But yeah, there's so many exclusive games, right? Like too many to count. Like the PS4 might have like God of War, and Xbox used to have Halo, Gears of War, but like the amount on PC
Yeah.
is it's just insane.
CS:GO.
CS:GO, oh, it's on Xbox, but it hasn't been updated since like 2013, so that doesn't really count.
Daisy's cross-platform.
It is?
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft. There's just so many that are there's just so many exclusives on PC that you can only play on PC, and then like the UI, they would really only work on PC. Like most FPS games, you can make it work on a console, right?
Mhm.
But something like League of Legends, that's never gonna work on a console. You have to
No.
play with a mouse and keyboard. So, hold up. The next thing I want to talk about is that the PC, not only is it like an amazing gaming machine, you get to do more with it, right? Like Wenzel and we stream on our PC, right? We make content. I can't do this podcast on my Xbox, right? But if I pay the extra upfront costs, I get to run the show. I get to live stream my content. I get to have a Discord server where I get to interact with people, that kind of thing, right? So the PC, this is really like a quick point, but the PC, you get a whole gaming PC, right? You get to not only enjoy your gaming experience, but whatever else you want to do, pretty much in the software world, right? Is able to be done on a PC. Whereas on Xbox, you just get to play games. Essentially, is it? So
On my PC, I could play The Witcher while having Call of Duty running in the background while watching some videos on YouTube.
yeah. I forgot to mention that is that I have an Astro Mix amp, so I get to I essentially paid like $125 to have an audio mix between them. But on a PC, you don't have to make that sort of investment, right? You just get to listen to music and play your games at the same time, unless you like want to listen to. Oh, I almost threw up there, thinking about what my girlfriend did the other day. She was FaceTiming her friends while playing on a console, right? So she had a headset on, FaceTime. Oh, right, on a PC, me and Wenzel, we're on the Discord right now. I can talk to Wenzel on Discord for as long as I wanted to, essentially, right? So you get things like Discord and TeamSpeak, and that's one of the other things, is that there's competition in PC gaming, right? If you buy an Xbox, you're stuck with Party Chat. You're stuck with the game store, right? If I don't like Steam, I can go to the Epic Store, I can go to G2A, I can download it wherever I want, right? I can go to Good Old Games. Which leads me to my next point, the long-term pricing of the PC. So, the PC, a lot of people think it's more expensive, which the upfront cost absolutely is. It is absolutely more expensive upfront. So I bought my girlfriend an Xbox the other week. It cost me $200. It was like the cheapest one there, and $200 that won't even get you a graphics card, a good graphics card. I would say like a high-end or like a mid-range graphics card. It won't even get you like a mid-range graphics card. But once you spend like $900 on a PC, that PC is gonna last you like 4 years probably, right?
Yeah.
All right. You don't have to buy Xbox Live. You get cheaper games normally. The long-term price is basically what I'm trying to say, is that it goes down, right? Which leads me to the next point. Or it's not my next point, but it's part of this point. But they got payment plans now, so you don't even have to make like a big upfront investment. Because my graphics card broke recently, and I gotta get a new one, right? So I bought a new 2080, and unfortunately, it was not the graphics card that was broken. So I'm gonna have to return that and get a new PC. Probably. Well, I don't have to get a new PC. I'm just kind of tired of dealing with it, so I want to get a new PC, right? And so I was going to buy one the other day, and I was like, shit, they got payment plans. I can pay like $80 a month, get like the best gaming experience in the world possible, and have a good old time in my stream with my friends playing PC, all that stuff, you know?
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be like a big upfront cost if you're willing to like make payment plans, you know? And it's 0% interest, so unless you're like irresponsible, you know, you can
Moving your
definitely do it with.
computer across the continents.
Well, no, I wasn't even saying that. I was just saying like if you're financially responsible, you don't go out and like max out your credit card and like unable to make a payment plan for something you can't afford, you know. So, those are the reasons I really think you. Oh, I missed one. So there's more advanced features on PC, right? So a lot of times on console, you're just kind of stuck with what you're looking at as far as visuals go, and you can only make very minor visual adjustments. But on PC, you got way more advanced features, right?
Mhm.
You can change the FOV, you can change the VSync, that kind of thing. Whereas on console, you're just kind of stuck with what you're stuck with, and maybe you can change your FOV just a little bit, like on Rocket League. I think.
Yep.
I think it's a big I think. But yeah. So you got way more advanced features on the PC. So then there's a few things I don't. I mean, you know, there's some reasons why you shouldn't get a PC, right? So if you're like me, I've been PC gaming for like the past 4 years, right? And in the past 4 years, I've had 4 major components of my PC break. That's mainly because I moved a lot. 3 of the 4 of them have been because I moved, right? So if you just don't move a lot, you probably won't have these problems. But even so, a lot of people, they'll like count the Xbox Live against it. So they're like, oh, you'll save $50 a year on buying an Xbox Live, right?
Mhm.
But like these components, they're like at least $300 each that have broken for me. So
Broke my motherboard once.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you might break something and you got to replace it, and you just kind of shit out of luck. And if that happens to you like more than once a year, like you're really not saving any money PC gaming in the long term, which is one of the main things that people talk about when they switch to PC gaming is that the games are cheaper and you don't have to pay for like Xbox Live or PSN Plus. But a lot of times you'll break components will just break because they do because it's very fragile and they'll just break for no really reason. And you can bring them to like a professional repairman, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, they're broken. Get a new one." So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is that technical difficulties, right? On console, you just play it and it just works. It just works. Like I want to say, like 99% of the time on console, it just works. You just hit play. Everything works perfectly fine. You don't got to worry about this or that, or maybe you got the wrong type of drivers running. On PC, that is not the case. I want to say it just works. Like 85% of the time, it just works. Is that accurate?
I would say it's closer to 75.
Okay, yeah. So
'Cause there's always small things to update here and
because
there.
I was gonna say, and then like 10% of the time, it's just like a minor fix you gotta make real quick.
Like
Then it'll
updating
work.
the drivers or updating the game.
Yeah. So like most of the time it'll just work. Sometimes you got to do like a minor fix, and then there's other times where it just will not work. And whatever you do, it doesn't matter how tech savvy you are, like it just won't work. For whatever reason, you got the wrong RAM and CPU combo, and it just won't work together, right?
That's angry.
Yeah, exactly. So other than that, which is like 5% of the time, I would say you just can't get it to work.
There's one thing you did forget to mention.
What was that?
Steam sales.
So
the bread and butter of
that,
PC gaming.
I did forget to mention that. I just included that in my long-term pricing as games being cheaper. I figured that everyone had heard about the Steam Summer Sale as well as G2A.
We need to give Lord Gaben his cut.
So I'll give. That is a reason. That's part of the long-term pricing is that there's Steam Summer Sales, which really haven't been as good as they used to be, honestly.
I don't know. I picked up Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt and all of its DLC
that's like
for
5 years old.
No, is it?
Yeah, I think so. It's 2020. When did The Witcher come out?
I think I bought that and another game for $10. And I bought 2 Christmas presents for another $12.
Yeah, it came out in May of 2015, so it's 5 years old. 4.5. That's because we just started 2020, but
Yeah.
4.5 years old.
Still a good game. There's older games on there.
I think it's about the same price on Xbox, honestly.
Sad.
So I wasn't going to include that. But the Steam summer sales have really not been what they used to be.
Oh,
But
you
they
used to pick up like
you still
Fallout
get
3 for $4.
it's free on Xbox.
Used to. Is my favorite.
Yeah. So you really used to be able to get a lot of games, but it's still cheaper on PC. Like I will definitely acknowledge that it's definitely cheaper on PC. It's not what it used to be, where you'd have like release day games selling for like $45, but like
Yeah.
it's still cheaper on PC overall, long term wise. So then
A lot
the
of
last
indie games.
yeah, there's indie games too, which are cheaper number one, but the number two they also go into games like PUBG, where they're huge,
Hit and miss.
They definitely are, yeah. So then, the last thing I wanted to say is to why not to get a PC, right? Because there's more hackers on PC.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty simple, right? On Xbox, or console, you gotta like somehow install hacks on like a USB stick and then like crack your console, but install them through like a BIOS or something,
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's really difficult to like legitimately hack on an Xbox One on like a modern game. Like I was playing Halo 5 today, right?
Yeah.
No one was hacking, not a single person, right? You get on Call of Duty, I saw like 4 posts on Reddit today complaining about hackers on PC, right? And now it's cross-platform, that affects me on console too, right? So there's a lot more hackers on PC. You will run into them. Unlike on Xbox, I've been playing this consistently for like the last 2 months. I have not noticed anyone who's like consistently hacking. So
I ran into a hacker earlier on Call of Duty.
mm,
And the only reason I say it is because he got 21 kills and 21 headshots with a
Yeah.
357.
yeah, so there's definitely that to deal with. So then, now that we're done talking about why you should switch to the PC, we get to do our favorite game of the stream. It's basically what a stream has become, right?